Yeah, this book, one line description would be a couple haunted by their aborted child, but I kind of hate describing it like that because it's like it's not really all about that. Plus, when I say that, people think that I've written some kind of propaganda political piece, and really what the seed that inspired this wasn't about abortion, it was about a miscarriage, but that's the depressing stories. I ain't going to go into that. So I'll just read. The high-pitched humming in her ears increased in volume. She glanced away from the jar and began walking into the kitchen area. The raw green shrimp she had left out on the counter from the day before was becoming overripe. She inhaled deeply through her nostrils and smiled. It was the way he liked it. The knife felt cold within the palm of her hand before burning her index finger with its sharp blade. The cut was shallow, but adequate. She began pulling the flesh apart with her fingertips, staining the green and pale meat a dull red as it separated. The phone began to chime in. It was Kyle. She knew it was, but ignored the call. He would have a chance to call later. She knew he would want his pet fed more than he would. She talked to him. She raised the blade of the knife up and down swiftly upon the torn flesh, mincing it into small and bloody pieces, small enough for the creature's tiny mouth to inhale. The small bits felt slimy in her palm as she grasped a portion of them. Here, let me give you air. The boy needs air. She lifted her hand to her mouth and exhaled deeply into it, warming the dead flesh with her breath. She inhaled and began to feel dizzy. The fingers of her hand opened and shreds of the meat clung to each of them. She thought of the phone call and wished she would have taken it. Kyle was in the jar. She glanced into the front room and stepped forward. 2 fish once fed many. My hand feeds one, the only one that matters. She felt her mouth fill with salt. The jar looked cloudy. The water needed changed. Old wineskins could never be made new, no matter how much salt. She stood in front of the glass and raised her hand above it. The creature rose up towards the surface and then moved forward toward the barrier. He was hungry. She stared at him and grinned, opening her hand.